Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alright, so today I'm going to be smoking a cigarette while sitting on the edge of a sidewalk. Why am I making this video today? Well, the reasons are quite simple. It's because today I want to smoke a cigarette. It's been a little while since I've had some nicotine, and so as such, I could definitely go for some. Reason number two as to why I'm making this video today, and this is the final reason, is because I think that this is an amusing thing to do. Because smoking a cigarette while sitting on the edge of a sidewalk is something that is just ingrained in me. It's something that is so basic, it's something that I do all the time, that it wouldn't normally click to think to make a video all about. Due to the fact that this is such a basic thing to do, I think that it's amusing to make a video all about doing, well, what I'm going to be doing today, smoking a cigarette while sitting on the edge of a sidewalk. Hence why I'm making this video today. I'm not sure if that really made any sense. I hope it did, but nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the rest of the video. After all, I cannot smoke a cigarette while sitting on the edge of a sidewalk if I don't smoke one. Now can I? What I've got with me today is a pack of the Lambert & Butler Original Silver Cigarettes from the UK. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this pack all opened up. Let's get one of the cigarettes inside the pack all out. And now that I've done that, let's go ahead and get my lighter out of my pocket as well, if I possibly can. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get this cigarette all lit up, and let's go ahead and get to smoking a cigarette while sitting on the edge of a sidewalk. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? And I gotta admit, this is an okay sidewalk to sit on the edge of. Could be about an inch or two higher, but this is regulation height for sidewalks in my local area. And due to the pretty extreme, I'd have to say, angle of the sidewalk, it's almost at a complete 180-degree angle right here. It is pretty easy to sit on the edge of the sidewalk, even though it is a bit lower than not, and even though it could use some more height. Due to the lack of height, though, of this sidewalk, I do find myself leaning forward a little bit more so than not. So this sidewalk in specific, I'd have to say it's not particularly ergonomic. I could certainly lean back, but I just don't find it comfortable for the lower half of my body when I lean back. So yeah, I am going to be leaning forward and having not such a great posture during this video today, but it is what it is, and I am not particularly stressed about it. But overall though, when push comes to shove, when compared to some other sidewalks, this is a pretty solid one to sit on the edge of. Because, well, of the aforementioned angle. There are some sidewalks in my local area that don't have this type of edge. Instead of having a really steep slope on the edge of the sidewalk, they will have a more gradual slope instead. This is so cars can go over the sidewalk without basically ruining everything about the undercarriage of their vehicle. However, those sidewalks are not very good to sit on the edge of. They've got an angle, angles are kind of awkward to sit on, and you tend to slide when you're sitting on a 30-degree angle. So yes, I am very thankful that the angle of this sidewalk is what it is. And while it might not initially appear that there are some sidewalks to What was I about to say? What was I about to say? I'm sitting here, smoking a cigarette, sitting on the edge of a sidewalk. This is a pretty good sidewalk to sit on the edge of, to smoke a cigarette on the edge of. I think I was about to say that it might initially appear that all sidewalks are built equally, that they're all equally as good to sit on the edge of, but that is not actually the case. There are certainly some sidewalks that are just, frankly put, built differently than others, and that are better to sit on the edge of than others. Slope sidewalks, horrible. Do not like sitting on the edge of them to smoke a cigarette on the edge of them. Do not like doing that. They are absolutely the worst sidewalks to sit on the edge of. Now, I think they're great to have in neighborhoods because you can kind of roll up on them a little bit and you can kind of get your car out of the road just a little bit more so than not if you're parking on the side of the road. However, to sit on the edge of, they're terrible, frankly put. The edge of a sidewalk like this really is ideal for smoking, although one that is even just a little bit taller than this would be even better. But government regulations are government regulations, and this is a regulation height sidewalk in my local area. And I am currently sitting in a public park that is run by the local government. And so, of course, the sidewalk height is going to be, well, regulation height. Overall, though, I gotta admit, this sidewalk might not be the most comfortable to sit on by any means. It's not, I will acknowledge, particularly cushioned. I definitely think coming out here with a pillow cushion or some sort of camping cushion or something like that might be ideal, might make this experience even better than it is currently. But, you know, just for being a sidewalk that's made out of concrete, it really ain't so bad, frankly put. And even if there was a sidewalk that was made out of something that wasn't concrete, I don't know if I'd want to sit on it, because I figure if some place was to make a sidewalk out of something that's not concrete, it would probably be made out of rubber or something like that. Something that is going to scuff on the bottom of your pants and is going to cause some marks, and nobody wants to look like they have skid marks on the back of their pants. And that was all I had to my first cigarette. Now, I'm sure some of y'all are probably thinking, well, why would you have more than one cigarette while sitting on the edge of a sidewalk? And the reason's quite simple. It's because I want another cigarette. So I'm gonna have another cigarette. I'm gonna have another one of my Lambert & Butler Original Silver cigarettes from the UK. And I'm gonna get back to smoking in a moment because I could go for a little bit more nicotine before I head out of the park I'm in right now. No complaints on my behalf, though. Excuse me. Just had a little bit of a burp. It's pretty nice out here. Sun is just about setting. It was a little bit brighter, even, I'd have to say 5 minutes ago now, but it's definitely getting a little bit darker. There's no street lights right near here. There's one, I'd have to say probably about 30 to 40 feet away from me right now, or about 1 kilometer for Europeans. But since it is 7:18 as of this moment in time, the sun went down about 6 minutes ago, and so as such, just getting a little bit darker, and since I don't have any light near me, it's just getting a little bit darker in general. But it's pretty nice. Even though I am surrounded by shrubbery, we can see shrubbery on this side, shrubbery on this side. I am surrounded by shrubbery currently, even though I am surrounded by much more shrubbery than not. Wait, I'm just realizing. Did this light just turn on? There's actually a street light right above me, and I didn't even realize. Okay, this might be a better spot than I was realizing to sit at, to sit on the edge of, to smoke a cigarette at night, because I was thinking this might not be a super great spot to sit on the edge of and smoke a cigarette at night because there's no street light. You're going to be in the dark. You're not going to be able to find your cigarettes in the dark if you drop one after all, kind of thing, unless the cherry is super red. But no, there is a street light right there. Okay. What I was about to say though, is that even though I am surrounded by shrubbery right now, as we can tell, there's actually really no bugs coming at me, which is a little bit surprising. Now, it's probably about, I'd have to say, 75 degrees right now, and you know, it feels really good out here. It's great smoking weather, I'll acknowledge. However, 75 degrees is definitely not cool enough for the bugs to go away. So there are generally some bugs out, but not right here, which is pretty nice. Now, I was just looking at a bat flying around, and that might very well be the reason why there are no bugs kind of flying around coming at me, because the bugs have already been eaten by that bat. Bats are pretty goated for bug extermination, I will acknowledge. They just have a bad name due to Batman, and due to the whole Dracula thing, and due to the whole public perception of bats. Really, the only dangerous thing about bats, at least in North America, I have heard that there is one type of blood-eating bat. It doesn't actually like suck your blood, I think. I don't really know how it works. I'm not an expert on bats, but I mean, like all the bats in my local area in North America, they're insect-eating bats, which is amazing. The main risk of bats, though, is rabies. They catch rabies, sadly, a good amount, which really is a shame because I think bats are pretty chill, frankly put. But rabies is not chill. It is one of the worst diseases to have ever been invented. Fruit bats, pretty cool as well. Just thinking though, did Batman make the perception of bats better or worse? I don't know, I feel like it's kind of 50-50. I feel like on one hand, due to the advent of Batman, bats kind of got seen, or started to get seen, as something that was a little bit cooler, a little bit less of a pest. But on the other hand, I feel like people might have just had heightened awareness of them due to that. I don't know. Either way though, what I can say for sure is that I'm enjoying my smokes right now. I'm enjoying having a cigarette or two while sitting on the edge of this sidewalk right here. Frankly put, I have no complaints on my behalf, and I am currently enjoying myself quite a bit. This is not the best sidewalk to sit on the edge of, but it's also certainly not the worst. It's pretty average, I'd say, and I do suppose an average sidewalk really makes sense for this video. After all, if I sit on the edge of the best sidewalk in the world to smoke a cigarette on, then, well, there would be no room for improvement, kind of thing. Starting off by sitting on the edge of a very average sidewalk makes sense, because now I can go find bad sidewalks to go smoke a cigarette on the edge of. I can go find really good sidewalks to go sit on the edge of and to smoke a cigarette on. Or maybe I could try to go find an even more average sidewalk edge than this one. I don't know, this is pretty average, at least for my local area, so I don't know if that's really going to be possible around here, but either way, I think there's some room for improvement for this experience, and so as such, well, I got no complaints on my behalf. Well, I think that's just about all I had to my second cigarette of the video. I'm going to throw away both of my cigarette butts after this video in a trash can, and I'm going to go have a great rest of my night. Appreciate y'all watching today's video. If you guys have enjoyed watching today's video, of course, like, subscribe, check out my Patreon, my Instagram, my merch, my Twitter, all of that sort of fun stuff, all in the description down below. Appreciate y'all watching today's video. Until the next one, stay safe in peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?